What's going on, folks? Joe Bass coming back at you with another Tackle Tuesday video. Today we are talking soft plastics for spring. Opener is a month away here in Minnesota, 4 weeks, counting down the days at this point. Cannot wait to get out there. The weather is finally heating up. It's supposed to be in the 70s possibly towards the end of this week, so might be able to get out and do some crappie fishing, might even venture over to Wisconsin and potentially hit some bass. So today I wanted to talk about some of the soft plastics that I just picked up and also just kind of what I'm throwing in the spring. These are soft plastics that are going to be paired with different trailers, sometimes with chatterbait or sometimes just a jig hook or a weighted belly hook. Sometimes they're just going to be weightless on a EWG or a worm hook, whatever you might be throwing. So this is some of the stuff that I'm going to be taking with me my first voyage out this year whenever that time comes, and that's pretty much it. So let's get cracking. All right, folks, so let's start here. This is one of my favorite baits. I did a full review on these already. These were the bigger ones, though, the 3.8 inches. They do make a 2.5 version of these Yamatanukis, all right? I cannot wait to throw these. I don't know what they mimic. I don't know if that's a scat bait. I don't know if that's, kind of a scat bait. It's not a paddle tail, but it's got a little tail. So you can throw this on a little Ned rig. Awesome. You can throw this on just a weightless hook. And it's got some heft to it, you know, so it's not going to sink super slow, but it will take its time to get down there, especially these smaller ones. They're great skippers if you're getting up under docks and into brush and that kind of stuff early. So that is kind of my number one. So many different ways to rig those. If you haven't seen that video, check out that, how I talk a little bit more about how we rig the Yamatanuki, all right? Next up, we've got something like these guys here. These are new to me. I have not thrown the Strike King finesse worms yet, but I have caught a lot of stuff on their paddle tails, on their tubes, all kinds of other stuff. So I figured I'd give these drop shots a try. All right, these are, I believe, just kind of the green pumpkin. Let's see, what are they? Watermelon red flake, sorry. That's what I meant. And these look awesome. They've got the flat body, right? The nice round top, and then that big, huge kicker tail on there, all right? So you can see that. There's just a lot of reflection there. Obviously, the lighting here isn't great, but that big tail on a drop shot, that is going to be killer, I guarantee it. So the way that I'm rigging a drop shot is just kind of like this. I've got these little finesse weights tied down. This one I had, this is probably 6 inches or so from where the hook was. This is actually a tiny, I like these a lot. I don't know exactly what size. I just kind of found a couple of them in my tackle box. I don't know when I ever would have bought these, but these are just extra, extra small kind of wide gap worm hooks, right? Size 1, maybe a 1/0, I'm not sure, but that thing is great because it allows for that hook to be even more weedless in the presentation if you're rigging it the right way, and you can keep that bait a little bit more up rather than just a circle hook where you're kind of shoving the nose in there. This hook would still work for that as well, but rather than just something like this where that bait is just sitting there, that might be great, especially if those bass are finicky, to make sure that you can get that hook exposed and into their lip when they bite. But I do like rigging it weedless as well, all right? So those were those guys. The KVD's Strike King Perfect Plastics. Gonna give those a try. Drop shot, everybody knows, killer in the spring, all right? And then also, this one is another one that if you haven't seen my Paddle Tail Swim Bait Tackle Tuesday, go check that out. But I did just figure out I should try these Kitech Fatties. I've heard so many things about these as far as paddle tails go. I've always used the more slender, boy, I don't even remember what their name is. The kind of more streamlined Kitechs that have a ton of kick. This is obviously just more of your basic paddle tail. They've got kind of a silver bluish bottom, and then that more natural kind of green pumpkin look on the top, all right? Cannot wait to throw these. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna rig these. First, chatterbait trailer, right? Paddle tail swim bait and a chatterbait trailer go hand in hand. You couldn't get much more of a perfect combo, all right? This is just a normal chatterbait brand, 3/8 ounce. I really like this bluegill presentation, this bluegill color on here. It just seems to catch fish, man. I don't know if it's something that they're just not seeing as much. People often go for solid colors. A lot of the time you'll see just white or black and blue and kind of that generic stuff. This little pop of color on there, I think, really does a lot, all right? And this skirt, we're gonna segue into these guys that I got. This is one of these new banded skirts from Boss Outdoors. This was $5 for the 5-pack of replacement skirts, essentially. I saw this color. I love this color. I've had a couple jigs or chatterbaits and other things that it has came off on due to just lack of care or, you know, just overfishing, honestly. So super happy to see these. Threw that one on there and it works like a charm. Super easy to install and get where you want it. If you just, you know, you want those colors on the bottom or the top or whatever, you just rotate it a little bit and there you go. So definitely gonna have those in the tackle box. Probably will pick up another color or two of those as well, all right? Going back to the chatterbait, this was a buddy of mine, Scott, told me to try these out. Not necessarily this brand, but more of this pintail. This is the Rapala Crush City Freeloader. Rapala. Let's start a debate, shall we? And so I'm really looking forward to these. He said to pair these on a chatterbait was phenomenal. So as you can see here, as I grab it out of the package a little bit more, there's no paddle tail on there. There's just that little tiny point, essentially. So putting that on a chatterbait just like you would a paddle tail or a craw or any other trailer, I think that's going to be absolutely killer, all right? And then this one, folks, I am super, super excited about. Another Crush City from Rapala. These just caught my eye. These are just craws. They're not super different than a lot of craws. However, they are in one way. And let me show you. These little legs here are incredibly sensitive. They're very realistic. This is a very realistic looking craw, okay? And that's exactly what I was going for. Obviously the colors maybe not as much, but as they're molting, and especially here in Minnesota, we don't have bright, you know, red crawfish or dark. So that's actually pretty realistic. But here, this is kind of how I'm gonna be throwing this, at least to start the season. I've got this on a medium rod. And so there's that craw. You can see those colors are great. But also those legs are just so, I mean, you can see they're just vibrating with the tiniest little touch. So I am super stoked to just creep this thing with that belly hook. This is a 3/0 belly weighted hook. Just creep that thing along the bottom. Let those legs do that little bit of work, just super, super slow. Hopefully gonna be enticing for some bass and hopefully gonna get some nice big bites this spring. So obviously craws are one of everybody's go-tos in the spring. Red craws are a big color too. Like I said, as they're molting and they're losing that shell, they might be a little bit more red. So I'm gonna try these ones out, and they've got kind of that orange body on the belly, so we'll see how those favor. But looking forward to throwing some craws there as well, all right? Couple more things here as honorable mentions. That kind of wraps it up as far as the soft plastic go-tos, right? We've got some craws. We've got the pintail, pointy tail, slash kind of paddle bait kind of thing, but it's not, right? We do have some normal paddle baits here. The Kitex, the Yamatanukis are one of my favorite baits to throw. We've got some extra skirts to replace any of those jigs, trailers, any of those chatterbait skirts that might be getting worn, or maybe just want to try out a different color. Maybe you got a white chatterbait and you want to throw on something that's got some chartreuse in it or whatever, right? You can change that up easily, all right? And then of course we've got the drop shot worms over here. Super excited to try those as well. And then this is kind of our extra, one of my favorites in the spring is a whopper plopper. I just picked this guy up. This is the El Chapo. Oh, sorry, got the hook in my finger. This is the Chapo 90 from Berkeley, all right? It's gonna be a little bit spendier than your, you know, Amazon whopper ploppers. It's $12, and I tell you, it is worth it, okay? The quality of these baits, when there's one that's $6 right next to it, or there's this one that's double the price, I can understand, and I have before gone for those cheaper baits, all right? This thing is just a higher quality all in all. Okay, you're gonna have better luck. It's gonna last you a lot longer as long as you don't throw it in the trees and get it snagged. And you're just gonna have a lot better luck with it doing what it's supposed to do, as in this rotating here, right? Some of the cheaper ones, just sometimes you'll pull them and you gotta crank them really hard to get that thing spinning or whatever, right? And so just spend a little bit more and get those ones and you will not regret it at all right? And then here, folks, is my last honorable mention of the day. This is the Throwbacks cheat code, all right? It's essentially a tiny little version of the Wake Walker, but also very different, right? It's, as you can see, like 4.5 inches, 5 inches, something like that. Fits into the palm of my hand. You can throw this on a conventional rod, no problem. If you've got your standard 7'1" medium heavy, you're not gonna have any problem throwing this, right? You don't need a big swim bait rod. But I know that these things get munched. I just got this one, thank you to the fam over at Throwbacks, and I could not be more excited to get out on the water just to throw this thing. So as well as everything else that you see here, super stoked to get on some of those springtime bass, but that cheat code is something else, let me tell you. So super excited to throw that. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. This has been a wrap of the necessary soft plastics here that you'll find a lot of people throwing. These are just some of my favorite colors, some of my favorite lures to use during the springtime here in Minnesota. So go out there, get bit, and hopefully we'll see you guys with some fish real soon.